We're starting again.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a good bit.
So, yeah. Oh, a lot are asking what a lot messaging why I didn't upload videos on my channel. Sorry. We're just pretty busy, you know. Sorry.
We're not pretty busy. We're very busy.
Yeah, because we're always been in the road these few days, you know, and once we're out in the road, when we came home around 5 or 6, 7, then after that I'm still in the computer editing 7 or 8 videos before I sleep, or Terence did a video and then I'll edit. So that's how it is. So but once I'll try Saturday and Sunday afternoon to do videos about Filipina foreigner relationship and then upload it bit by bit, so at least my channel will be.
It's not dead.
Yeah. But thank you for all the subscriptions. I'm in 800 something. Thank you. You know. So now.
How long did it take us to get to 800?
It takes us for 4 months, 3 months, like
4
that.
4 months or 3 months, really?
Yeah. So thank you to all who subscribe. Even I'm gonna do videos for that channel. So again, it's just to all, thank you for listening our advice section. You know, as I said, it's just our personal opinion, and I'm so I know that we didn't get the side of the other persons, but as I said, it's just advice based on what I read, and I know it's not biased.
It's not biased. Of course it's biased.
Yeah, I know
You're
it's
a female.
biased. I know it's biased, but I stand. I what do you call that? I stand on behalf of me. What do you call that?
Well, you stand on your opinion.
Yeah, I stand on my opinion, but I respect everyone's opinion.
Right, and why am I here?
Because you're gonna give an advice, and at the same time, the
what
reasons.
Am I then, the token male?
Yeah, and at the same time, the reasons why we did the videos on the advice, those personal questions, messages that we received, so that the other persons that sender it will be enlightened based on your comments. So every comment is appreciated. Yeah, so now there's another sender. The sender is a foreigner. Oh, this is another one. Hi Terence and Beth, I am your new subscriber. I can see that's genuine in your channel. Your advice is really helpful, and don't stop giving advice because it makes me smile and gives new perspective in life. I am 65 years old, happily married if me and my Filipina are not fighting each other, laughing out loud. My problem is every time me and my wife has a quarrel or misunderstanding, or tampo, what you call that, she speaks her native language. And one time, for curiosity, what my wife said in Visayan, I recorded. And I let my neighbor, the sari-sari store owner, to translate it to me. At first, I don't believe it. So I went to my friend whose girlfriend is also Visayan, and I let her translated it, and they have the same translation. So my wife says in the recording is Tambok Tigwang.
The translation.
Yeah.
So the translation is.
Yeah. The Visayan is Tambok Tigwang Buang. So the translation of this is fat old man crazy. And she walks away later. She walks away after she talks that. You know, and everything, once we settle for a few hours or a few minutes, it's back into normal, like nothing happened. So like we're back into the beginning, like boyfriend and girlfriend.
So it goes back to being good together.
Yeah. So what should I do? I love my wife, but it just happened that it seems that what's your attitude towards me? Give me your advice, Terence and Beth. Thank you for your time. A foreigner with a loving when she's not mad at me.
So what he's worried about is he wants to know whether how she is normally when she's being sane, whether that is the truth, or whether the fat old man you're crazy side of her, which erupts like a volcano when they have an argument. And he wants to know really which is which one should he believe in.
I think based on what the message is, if they don't have quarrel, which he didn't state it, if it's how often it was, based on what is stated, that they're like boyfriend and girlfriend, like nothing happens after the misunderstanding. So it seems that it's just normal, you know. It's just normal that, because sometimes when we're very angry to someone, to our partner, sometimes we talk not from the heart but from the mind, right?
From the mouth.
Yeah, from the mouth here. You know?
Americans call it shooting your mouth
Yeah,
off.
because sometimes our mouth is, that's why before we speak, you know, we should bear in mind that the word from this tongue is much sharpened than the knife, because it's broke the heart, and
cut.
yeah, in wound it healed for a few days, few weeks, but in the heart, the knife that came out to your mouth could lead something to other person. That's why it's very difficult. That's why bear in mind that think before you speak, you know. So based on what I understand, it seems that it's just normal, you know. Maybe it's just the joke of your wife, right?
Well, maybe she's just letting off steam. Well,
Yeah.
that's not a maybe, is it? It's really a no-brainer. When she gets really mad at him, she erupts and says things in her own language, which she knows she can't say
In person,
his language.
yeah, in his language. And at the same time, you know, it's just a kind of, maybe it's normal, you know. It's just kind of that every time you got an argument, it just came out on her mouth, because that's what she always use every time you get an argument. So it's just like a used word, right? But there's no there's no meaning on it, you know. So
Well, it doesn't mean it. It's very likely that it doesn't mean the same to her as it does to him,
yeah,
because it's her second language, and like we know with some of the titles that you come out with, you called somebody the terrible man.
yeah. So possible, that's what came also in her mouth, because possible you are fat, right? And you're old, you know. And when you got an argument,
Just say it like it is, honey.
yeah, it's serious, you know. And when you got an argument, maybe you get crazy. So that's why she came out on that. But you know, all you need to do, is, when everything else calm, you're gonna speak to your wife and says, look, and because of my curiosity, and I recorded it when we got an argument, and you said to me that I'm fat, I'm old, I'm crazy. You know, so you speak what's in your mind. Are you serious on telling me that? You know,
Well,
just,
he is 75 years old. 65
65
years old. So he does qualify as being old. So that part of it is true. Are you overweight? So if you're overweight, it's not one of those things that you can sort of hide. You can't say, well, yes, I'm 350 pounds, but I'm not. I'm big bones. I hear that a lot, you know. Yes, but I was always big. Okay, well, you were always fat. Didn't that comedian in America go on and say that he could never understand it with a woman? He said, whenever a woman says to him, does this dress make me look fat? He always says, no, it's the fat that makes you look fat. So,
yeah.
is he fat? Is he old? Now, the crazy part, he might want to dispute.
Yeah, all you just need to do is you just talk, you know. You just settle it, and I think that it's just normal for a relationship that there is misunderstanding, you know, because it makes the relationship stronger as long as you communicate.
Well,
And
as long as you live through the
yeah, and at the
misunderstandings.
same time you learn from the misunderstanding, you know, and working it out to make it into a better relationship, you know. And at the same time, I think it's a good thing that you don't understand the language, you know. I think it's a good thing that you don't understand the language, because if you understand, maybe it's a big fight, you know. So that's another thing that foreigners should not learn in language, but you know, because
Well,
there's an example to that, you know. Terence and I and Batchoy went in town, you know, and then we walk, and then there's the man there in the bake.
I'm walking with Bachoy,
Yeah,
and
and
I'm holding Bachoy's hand. Okay?
yeah, and holding Batchoy's hand, and I was in the back of them, you know. So Battery and Terence is walking, holding hands, and I was in the back. And then there's a few three men sitting down, and they said to Battery, "Boy, it's not your father. Look at your nose and look at her nose. Look at your color and her color. Boy, it's not your father." And then Battery looking at them and laughing, and I was in the back following them, so I just laugh on it, you know. So when we were far, I said to Terence, you know what they said? They said to Battery, "Boy, it's not your father."
But
You know, so that's another
that
thing.
didn't bother me. But it is true that there's a certain kind of armor plating that goes with not understanding the language, because you never take offense at anything that's said because you don't know what the hell's being said anyway.
Yeah, that's
But that being said, it might be better if you actually spoke the language and understood it, and then you could choose as a foreigner to acknowledge which communication from which. So in other words, in the case of this expat who's got a wife that calls him fat, old and crazy, well, it wouldn't really apply because she would know if he could speak the language, but somebody else might call him fat, old and crazy out of temper, and he could choose whether he was going to acknowledge that.
Yeah, so just talk, just talk to your wife, and then maybe just settle it down. Because I believe that as you said in the message, that when everything is okay, you're like boyfriend and girlfriend from the very beginning.
That's the real decider, isn't it?
Yeah, so
because if they're like boyfriend and girlfriend again, not husband and wife. Boyfriend and girlfriend usually contains a lot more romance than husband and wife, doesn't it, darling?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just normal. Maybe you just use it as an expression, like "I love you, darling." But like when you're been together and you're very in love, you said "I love you, darling," and then when you got quarrel, you said "fat, crazy, and old." So it's just like that. So but you need to settle that to your wife.
Now, here's a suggestion that I would make, which you may. This is not turning the other cheek, but it might make her stand up and realise that what she's saying is not so good. For the little that I know of Visayan, I've learned certain phrases, and one of the phrases that always makes people smile if they ask me, "Do you speak Visayan?" and I say, "I speak a little bit like that," and they want to know, "What do you speak?" And I always say, "Akong asawa guapa." Akong asawa guapa. Asawa is wife. Akong, mine. Guapa means beautiful. So what I'm saying is, I have a beautiful wife. Now, when I say that, the Filipinos that are listening, especially the women, they all laugh, and I say, and then comes my joke in English, "Guess who taught me that?" And then they say, "Your wife." Okay, so maybe what you might do is you might go back to your friend who is married to, or whose girlfriend is a Filipina, and you might say, "How would I say the following?" And then you could choose something that was in your mind equivalent to "fat, crazy old man." Maybe you might say "fat, crazy young woman." Who knows? There might be something there which might make her stop saying that.
Yeah, and I think on this message, there's an advantage and disadvantages of learning the language. The disadvantage is you didn't understand, so it didn't fuel the argument. But the disadvantage of that is, it's very important that a foreigner should, once you came to the Philippines, you should know how to speak the language, because it's a way to communicate to your neighbor, to other person, and it makes you more parts of the community, because
true.
everyone can talk to you. Not like if you're a foreigner and you didn't speak the native language, your neighbor will difficult to communicate with you, because they always say, I gonna have a nosebleed.
That's absolutely right. So a couple of guys might come up in a disagreement with you, and when they walk away because you haven't understood anything, one of them might say to the other, "I don't understand those foreigners, I called him a fat, crazy old man, and he didn't take offense."
You know, so yeah, that's another thing. So thank you for sending, and at the same time, I think it's just a simple switch. You know, all you need to do is just repair it. You know, it's just marriage relationship, which is normal, because even Terence and I, when we got an argument, I speak Visayan. You know, I speak Visayan, so it's just normal. You know, as
Not
long
like me,
as
I go off into English.
you know.
No, I speak English all the time, don't I?
Yeah, so when we got an argument, I shout out. It's Visayan and Terence didn't understand, so that's fine. You know, so please like, comment,
She
and
doesn't know that I've got it recorded.
so please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, thank you so much for subscribing us. We are now in 24,300. Thank you so much, and God bless. Yeah, and don't forget, if you have an advice, if you have some
Question?
questions that you want our advice, our little advice with our little what do you call that? Little mind, then tell
I
us.
don't know, a little something like that. What is that?
You
in
know, so
Visayan?
we don't reveal the name, just a code name.
And the other thing is that we never ever said that our marriage is perfect.
Yeah, there's no
We never
perfect.
ever said that we know everything, and we never ever said that we would give perfect advice. If you ask our opinion, that's what we'll give, our opinion. Isn't
Yeah,
that
and
right, Dave?
also the purpose of the video that we give, we
It's
want.
fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and at the same time, other can comment it, and it will expand the decisions of the center.
It will give you not just our
Yeah.
viewpoint, but
But
a lot of
others.
other viewpoints, which, if they're nicely put, without swear words and effing this and effing that, we'll leave them up.
Yeah, you know, we always welcome comments, you know, but if it's below the belt, delete.